How's it going, everybody? CJ here, back with another video. We're doing a top 10 today. I'm going to be going through what I believe are the top 10 cards that are new from Modern Horizons 2 for Commander. But before we hop into that, remember, hit that subscribe button and like this video. Comment down below if you disagree with me, if you think that there's a card that should have been in the top 10 or a card that shouldn't be in the top 10. Let me know and tell me why. Also, in the description of this video, you can find the giveaway, which you can win this cool other Dingus Highlander playmat, along with some signed EDH staples. So check that out. Also, we have another link, the compiled link. In there, you can find the TCG Player affiliate link, the Patreon, and my personal store if you want to support the channel. You can also find the Discord to chat with us, the TikTok, the Twitch, and the Twitters. Check all that out. And we're going to hop into this. My top 10 for Modern Horizons 2. New cards in Commander. We're going to start off with some honorable mentions. The suspend cycle, that is specifically, I think all of them are pretty good, but I think the blue one's the worst one. The other ones I would have considered for this list, but because of the fact they have suspend, it makes them a lot worse. Like Gaia's Will, that would be a fantastic card, except for the fact that waiting 4 turns means you're waiting 4 turn cycles. So you're waiting what's essentially like 16 turns, like 16 individual turns. Like, that's a long time to wait for this thing to go off. I don't like that. The only one that I would actually consider playing in Commander, honestly, unless I'm going to use shenanigans to cheat them out, is the white one, because only suspend 2 is pretty good. You can throw it out pretty early, and it's a way to restore your board. So, like, that's something that you can actually really capitalize on. I think that's the only real powerful one for Commander, in my personal opinion. Also, honorable mention, Sylvan Anthem. The only reason why it didn't make the list is because it's very narrow to just green cards. There's Sanctum Weaver, which is just very Enchantress based, like you've got to be in enchantments for that to be good, but that card's super powerful when you are, plus it's an infinite mana combo with cards like Freed from the Real. Ignoble Hierarch, that almost made the list, but it just missed it. It's a very good mana dork, just thought I'd mention it. Harmonic Prodigy, similar to Sylvan Anthem, it's very niche, but a very powerful card in that niche. And Esper Sentinel. It's white card draw, but I don't think it's that good. I think that it's overhyped. I had it on the list, like, it's probably in the teens for me, but I think it's overhyped. Like, people compare it to Rhystic Study, but it's not Rhystic Study. I don't think it's that powerful of a card, personally. But we're going to hop into the actual top 10 now. Starting off with number 10, we have Chef's Kiss. I think this card's really cool. It's pretty much a red counter spell. It's a redirect that you can stop any point removal from destroying your board. And if you do, you get to copy it and you choose 2 new targets at random that you don't control. So at its worst, like one opponent casts the card and targets one of your things, then suddenly you get to blow up 2 of your opponent's things. So that's kind of like a 3-for-1 because you're using 1 card and you're getting rid of your opponent's removal spell and 2 targets for that removal spell. That seems awesome. This is just a 3-mana 3-for-1 card. This card will literally always 3-for-1 unless it ends up being a destroy creature and you randomly select an indestructible creature. But the odds of that are very narrow. Like, this seems like a very powerful card, and it's going to get a lot of utility. It's going to be great in any deck that doesn't have blue in it. This is a good card because it's a good way to protect your board. It's very close to a counterspell. It is pretty much a counterspell when it comes to removal. It's a good card, and I think that it'll be great. Like, it can also... It can do some interesting things. It can do some very interesting things. And that's why I made my top 10. Also, because it makes a copy, it hits those Magecraft triggers and copy triggers really well, so it's good inside decks with those. Like, there's a great card for Veyron. It's a good protection card that also lets you get tons of triggers. It seems good. Like, I like this card. Now, we're going to move on to number 9. We have Deckin Shadow Slayer. This card's really cool. It would be like higher up on this list if it weren't for the fact that it's Esper and it cares about land, so it's a little more niche. I mean, I'm putting this inside of my 5-color lands deck. Like, this seems great in that. It seems like it'd be a fun card in like a Maze's End style deck. It's got a lot of powerful effects. The problem is that a lot of them aren't as synergistic with each other as I would have liked. I mean, it's synergistic enough though. So you can plus it to Surveil, and it's Surveil 2, right? Yeah, Surveil 2. So that gives you graveyard synergies. It gives you card selection. Like, that's a powerful plus. It's a good card. It's a good ability right there. And then its minus is just exile target creature. Great removal there on a stick. And it's -6. You can have really good artifact synergies, reanimate some artifacts. And if you're throwing it in a lands deck, it can hit like your Crucible of Worlds to bring that back and other key stuff. So this card can fit a lot of niches. It's just pretty generically powerful. And I think it's going to see a lot of play, especially because in Commander, this scales very well. If you draw this early game, it's going to put in a lot of work throughout the entirety of the game. If you draw this late game, it's going to enter as a bomb and just immediately be able to ultimate and still have counters on it and put in tons of work. Like, this thing's going to be good. I think it's going to see tons and tons of play. I'm excited about this card. Next up, we got number 8, Tireless Provisioner. It's similar to Tireless Tracker, except it creates either a food or a treasure token. So it's good in food decks, like Guillaume, stuff like that. Seems great. It's good in treasure-based decks. Just anything that you want to create a lot of treasures in seems good. Or really anything that you want to make a lot of tokens in. It's just good inside of token decks. So like Lonis would probably love this card. It seems good. It seems like a very just easy to slide in, synergistic card. It synergizes very well with the lands decks because if you escape shift 10 lands and you can make 10 treasures and have 10 mana right there. Seems great. It's just powerful. And treasures and food, especially recently, have been seeing a lot more like usage. Like, they're almost becoming evergreen. So that could end up being big. And yeah, I think this card, especially at an uncommon, is very powerful and is going to see heavy play. I know I'm going to be putting it in multiple decks. The fact that you can just landfall treasure, it's similar to like a Lotus Cobra. Like, it's a 1 mana more than a Lotus Cobra, and it's got significantly more utility. Because Lotus Cobra, land enters, you get a mana. With this, land enters, you can make a treasure, and so you can save that mana for later. You don't need to use it now, or if you need life, you can make a food instead. Like, this is arguably better than a Lotus Cobra. In my opinion, it probably is, especially inside Commander, because the 1 mana difference won't slow you down too much. I think this card's fantastic. Fantastic. Next up, we're on to number 7. So number 7 is actually 2 cards I'm going to be talking about here. We've got Persist and Unmarked Grave, because they're both very similar. It's basically, they're non-legendary versions, like they're versions of Animate Dead and Entomb, but they just can't target legendaries. So these are going to be heavily played. These are going to be auto includes in any Reanimator deck. Like, from now until forever, Reanimator decks auto include. Great cards. I mean, you can even throw it in non-Reanimator decks, especially Unmarked Grave. Go and grab, like, your Life from the Loam, throw that in your graveyard. You can go and grab, like, well, Osgir you can't put this in, but in any real deck that you, like, are going to be utilizing your graveyard, easy. Plus, the reanimation spell is very nice. Like, these are good cards. These are just generically good and are going to be played heavily. And I think that they're great includes in the set and are going to be great for the Commander format. Number 6, we've got what looks like, for me at least, the best reanimation target in the set, being Sarah's Emissary. Sarah's Emissary. This card is insane. Oh, my computer just went black. There we go. Sarah's Emissary is insane. So, enters the battlefield, choose a card type. You and creatures you control have protection from the chosen type. This card's nuts. So, at its very worst, you play Sarah's Emissary, you name creatures. Suddenly, your creatures cannot be blocked by your opponent's creatures, and you cannot be dealt damage by your opponent's creatures. So you're just like, whatever you want to do in combat can't be stopped. Like, you can do whatever you want. It's awesome. This is like crazy. Like, this can end up being very oppressive in that manner, like especially if you copy this thing and be able to choose other card types. But creature is going to be the best one I think to choose, and it's going to put in substantial work. Like I'm going to need multiple copies of this card for like my Atla Palani deck. That seems great. Like any big creature cheating stuff into play deck, this card's going to be awesome include. Awesome include. I mean, make all your stuff unblockable and make it so you can't take damage from creatures anymore. You're just going to win the game if this sticks around. And it's going to be hard to get. You can't get rid of it in combat, so it's not going to be easy to get rid of. Seems good, especially like you copy this thing, you make 2 of them, you name instance on the other one, you're protected. It's going to be good. It's a good card. And next up, we got number 5. My number 5 is Dothi, Voidwalker. This card is very powerful. It's just graveyard hate on it. It can steal stuff that you hate away. And since it's only a 2 mana, 3/2, there's a lot of cards that reanimate this. Like this is one of those, this is like in the prime, like if it was a 2/2, it'd be even a little bit better for this, but it's like in the prime spot for most reanimation cards. This card is a card that can just come in and out of your graveyard like crazy, and you'll just be destroying your opponent's game plans if they use their graveyard, and stealing whatever you want. You can just use it until you hit something that you want to steal, sacrifice it, get that thing back, get that thing that you exiled from your opponent, and then reanimate it and do it again. This, and anything with a void counter. So if this dies and then you bring it back, anything that previously was exiled with a void counter on it is still fair game. So you can still grab stuff that a previous Dothi Voidwalker exiled. It's crazy. This card's going to be awesome. I am super excited about this. It's going to be a great hate bear. Any stacks deck could really use this. Like, this card's cool. It's a cool card. Mostly hate bear style decks. I like it. Plus it's a rogue if that matters. Next, number 4. We have one of my favorite cards from this set, because this card is just going to be a lot of fun. You got Academy Manufacturer. So this card just kept creeping up higher on my list because there's so many cards that care about Trude, Treasures, and Clues. This just gives you all 3 at each time, and the fact that they just keep printing more stuff related to them, this card's just going to be, its usage rate just going to go through the roof. Like, it's just, every set that comes out that includes one of those token types, which Treasure has been in most sets recently, every time new cards that say that are printed, this card gets better. It just strictly gets better every time a card comes out that says Treasure. No, like, this thing's gonna see tons of play. It's gonna be seeing a lot of play right off the bat, and it's gonna be a very good spec card. I think that it's super powerful, super powerful. Can give you tons and tons of advantages and synergies, and this card's cool. I love it. Number 3, we've got Yavi Maya, Cradle of Growth. Auto include in pretty much any green X, green XX, whatever. Any deck that has green in it and another color, auto include, no matter what. Like Urborg. Like, there's no reason to not run Urborg inside of your black and white deck. This card's going to be really good. And there's a lot of cards that synergize very well with it. Like Chatterfang with Forest Walk. Creatures of Forest Walk, love this card. Arbor Elf, you want to make it so your Gaia's Cradle is a forest, so you can tap Arbor Elf to untap your Gaia's Cradle and get 1,000,000 mana. That seems great. Nissa Who Shakes the World. Double all the mana from all your lands. Oh my god, my dog's got a squeaky toy. Double all the mana from all your lands. Unreal there. What else we got here? Kyrian Ranger. Any utility lands that you want to bounce back and forth, you can do that. Real easy. Patron of the Orochi. Seems really cool. Untap all your lands every time you tap him. You can do it once a turn. Kind of like a Seaborn Muse there. That seems great. You've got Life and Limb, which seems really cool. Just turn all lands into Sapperlings. Then you can use cards like Peer Pressure or Elishnorn to get a massive advantage off of that. Like, I love the Elishnorn turning everyone's lands into creatures type of combo where just all lands will die to state-based actions. Because, like with this one, with Life from Limb, so Yavi Maya, all lands are forests. Lifelorn Limb. All forests are 1/1 saplings. Elish Norn. All your opponent's creatures get -2/-2. All your opponent's lands, as soon as they enter, die to state-based actions. Amazing. Like, that's super, super powerful. That's just game-winning stuff right there. Next, number 2. We have, I think, might be my favorite card in this set. Damn. I mean, just damn. This card's nuts. Like, probably the best, or one of, if not the best board wipe in the game. In Commander. It's super, super high utility. You got Wrath of God if you need it, and you've got spot removal if you need it. So early game, or if you've got a huge board but somebody has one problematic creature, you can just snipe that one creature. But if you're way behind and everyone else has crazy board states, you draw this thing, suddenly you have a board wipe. Like, this gives you such high utility in the matter of, like, if you top deck this in a bad situation where it's either one big creature or a ton of creatures, it can hit either or. It's just insane utility. The only reason why I actually didn't put this at number 1, the number 1 I think is a little bit better in general, but also the fact that this has to go in like black, white plus decks. Like, it can't be anything. It can't be in a mono black deck. Like, the fact that it Orzhov plus is a downside. But this card is insane, and it's going to see tons and tons of play. There's no reason to not run this over Wrath of God or Day of Judgment. And those are, like, some of the most powerful cards in the format. No reason to run Damnation over this. And Damnation is a huge card in Commander. This card's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And lastly, we've got my number 1 pick for best Commander card from the new cards in Modern Horizons 2. And that is Sword of Hearth and Home. This card can go into any deck because it's colorless. It provides protection from green, which is fine. I mean, it means it's more unblockable than anything else because there's not a lot of green targeted removal other than, like, Beast Within. But you're going to tend to see a lot of green creatures on the board. And protection from white, which stops, like, Swords to Plowshares, Path, lots of stuff like that. There's a lot of spot removal in white, so that seems pretty good. But most importantly, most of the decks that I run, I've got creatures that enters the battlefield triggers because I like value. And this will let you blink them, just get extra triggers in colorless. That seems amazing. Plus, it ramps you. Even better. This is a sword that gives you protection from 2 colors, it gives you a buff, and it gives you enters the battlefield triggers or leaves the battlefield triggers, and it ramps you. I love this. Any deck that's got, like, enough low drop creatures to, like, equip this thing on early to, or like a commander with CMC 3 or less, this card's going to be nuts. It's going to be an auto including tons and tons of decks across the board. This is going to be huge card in Commander. I am super excited about this. I love this card. I love it. I love everything about it, and I cannot wait to play it. And that is my top 10. So remember, comment down below if you disagree with anything I said, or if you have any cards that I should have mentioned. Also, if you're going to say I should have mentioned some legendary creatures, no, I'm not doing legendary creatures in this because I already did a video on them all alone. They already had their own videos. So we're doing this on non-legendary creatures. I should have said that at the beginning, but I didn't. But you're hearing that now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Peace out, everybody.